There's no way that someone could go missing in Kennedy, but it happened.
In the past 20 years, more than 1 million people have gone missing in the state of Texas. Luckily, about 99% of those cases have been cleared, but that still leaves 5,600 people that are still out there. So our investigative team looked case by case across the state, and the one that we felt spoke to the problems we were discovering was the case of Jamie Mayberry out of Kennedy, Texas.
My family, the Mayberrys, I'm the youngest out of 8. Jamie, we grew up 1 year apart. He was older than I. I always do something to make you laugh. He was the jokester of the whole crowd.
He was very open about his lifestyle, though.
Yes, oh yes.
In a small town, they're not used to it, being openly gay.
Well, you couldn't even tell that he was a man. And I told him I thought that was pretty dangerous.
Jamie Mayberry disappeared from his home on April 1st, 1999. He was only 35. His niece, who was the last person to see him, was just 18. I think until you're personally impacted by a loved one going missing, you don't realize how difficult it is to get answers. The police department and the city of Kennedy were really shutting us out when it came to open records, except for a single document, the front of the police report, and it was very basic information, which is why we kept asking more questions, and that really prompted the new police administration to take a fresh look at this case.
Growing up here in this small community, I knew who he was. We were friends. He was never judged as the cross-dresser that he was.
Do you feel like any of this was related to Jamie Mayberry's lifestyle?
Back then, it probably was.
It was he and I. We went out. There was a guy that was not from here. He was interested in my uncle.
He started hitting on Jamie, and once the cousin told him, you know that's a guy, he pulled out a knife, and my brother got up and took off.
What happened the next night?
There was a knock at the door. It was a guy, and he was like, "Hey, Jamie, you remember me?" I didn't get to see who was in there. It was dark. And he asked him if he wanted to go and get some beers, and then we'll bring you back.
You heard his voice?
They had like a Mexican accent. The truck, when I peeked out the window, I could see the headlights. They backed up all the way and then drove out.
When did you first realize that he wasn't coming home?
After a few hours passed, we ended up calling the law enforcement at that time.
It was Kennedy police?
It was Kennedy police.
And they told you that he just wanted to leave?
Yeah, they were like, well, how do y'all know he's missing? I mean, he's an adult. You never know. He may have wanted to go. He may have went to go visit somebody.
I know my brother, yeah. He would not have left his niece. They didn't want to deal with this because of the way Jamie was. Because he was the homosexual, and I think he was brushed under the table, you know, almost as if I want this to stay buried.
Reading the reports, I didn't get the impression that they didn't take it seriously.
Do they talk to neighbors? Do they talk to family?
They talked to anybody and everybody that was mentioned at the time.
Hello. We're working on a story about a missing persons case. Just down the block, right up the road, across the street, 1999, Jamie Mayberry.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Did you live here then?
Oh, yeah.
We're trying to find people who lived here in 1999 to see if the police talked to them back then.
No, police never came and asked any of my, that I know of. He didn't come by and talk to me or anything.
Yeah, I'm assuming they did what they could do, and then when they reached a certain level, or they needed more assistance, then they started calling in other partners.
The last person to see Jamie, his niece, says she wasn't questioned until state law enforcement got involved. That's the Texas Rangers. Based on the records that we've been able to pull together, it looks like the Texas Rangers weren't requested until sometime between 5 and 11 days after Jamie was officially reported missing. We had more questions. We felt like it was important to try to track down that ranger out of retirement.
I was hoping to talk to you about a case that it looks like you worked way back 20 years ago out of Kennedy, Texas.
Mayberry,
Should Kennedy have requested help sooner?
I wouldn't get called immediately unless there was something, really obviously wrong at the scene or something.
I'm just thinking it might be because Kennedy's a small town.
I'm not going to comment on, what another agency, if they should have done something. The bad thing is that getting called in, after the fact is kind of tough. It makes it harder.
It's that very short window of time you have. You need to talk to witnesses, you need to talk to the neighbors, people around who might have seen something.
Now you've got to understand, this is Kennedy, a small community. Everybody showed up to look for Jamie. At this point, I feel the killers are among us. And then a rumor came and said, you should maybe search in that field over here.